Buenas tardes. Actually, welcome back to another episode of Monkey Brothers Nerd Show with our returning pet, Wolfie.
I'm big. I'm not feeding him. I'm not taking him out.
Not cleaning his pooper's cage.
Come on, man. You give me a bucket, and that's it.
Yeah, you're lucky you got a bucket.
Right. Just go outside.
But, what are we talking about today, Doc?
Well, I know we were having a conversation and we had to put a pin in it because it was a good conversation to have on an episode.
Yeah.
It was about superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
I know I started off because we were talking about Batman Fear State.
Mm-hmm.
I had done some of my homework and started reading some of my comics.
Mm-hmm.
And I finished Fear State, and to be quite honest with you, I was telling you how tired I was. Like, the story was good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Joker World was better, but how it was so long and drawn out that you just get tired of it, you know. Especially the big two. Everybody and now they just have events, you know, in comics, you know. It's almost like, oh crap, here comes Labor Day. All the big movies are coming out. You got to sit through like 3 hours worth of a movie, you know, and you realize, man, you could have taken at least an hour and a half out.
When you said Labor Day, I thought you were going to make a Calendar Man reference or something, but.
I mean, I guess to my point now, I'm buying all these different comic books that I've never bought before, which I bought The Rush, which I didn't like. It was like about the gold rush and, you know.
That's actually exactly what I thought it was about. Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't like it, but I'm giving those type of comic books more of a chance, more independent comic books, just because I like the idea of an actual story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you've seen some of the ones that I bought.
Yeah.
The Maw, that's pretty good. The one I picked up recently was Sheena. And mostly I bought it because of the art. But I read the story and I really like where it's going, so I'm going to stick with it. But I don't know. I like the way that stories can end. I got into it mostly a while back, a long time ago, with Image Comics with Alex Aneda. And I really, really like the characters, and I wish it would have continued, but we brought up the point that
sometimes the story just needs to end.
Yeah, because you want to end on a high note, not when you've dragged it out and you're like Walking Dead looking at you. You know, it's like, can it end already? Could you just take it outside and just shoot it? Because all you're doing is like really just retreading old storylines with different people.
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Yeah, and by all means, I completely understand that. So, like, by all means, I think, you know, we said it was superhero fatigue. But I think it'd be more accurate to call it just like event fatigue, wouldn't it? Because it's like the example I was using, because I feel the same way, but the example I was using is, I remember a while back, is that there was those old I would say old comic books, but I guess at this point they are old. Like Rising Stars and whatnot, where it really wasn't about the superheroes doing super heroics, but about the everyday lives of the superheroes. You know what I mean? And I actually really enjoyed those storylines because they were just, like, they weren't focusing on, you know, on the stuff that, you know, like, you know, hey, you know, bad guy robs bank, bad guy gets followed by good guy, you know?
No, I agree. I remember all those, and I think that's what I was telling you, that even back in the 90s, as horrible as characters, some of those comic books aren't even worth much now, but I do miss them because they took more chances, you know, on stories they were telling, like Battle Chasers and Crimson, and
yeah.
You know,
oh my God, I remember Crimson. Yeah.
Yes. You know, and of course, like you just said, Rising Stars. You know, just a different take on the genre. You know,
mm-hmm.
Or maybe people that you would figure weren't heroes but were heroes. You know.
Yeah.
Or there was, you know, or they just hit somewhere in that gray area. You know. But I liked it. You know, now I appreciate it because Story started, middle, and end.
Yeah.
Good, great. There's no fatigue. And maybe you are right. Maybe it's an event fatigue, but considering that it is now thoroughly entrenched in what they're doing in comics.
Yeah.
Like I told you, they're thinking about killing off Wolverine again.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, it's funny that there's a website that's dedicated to, is Wolverine still dead? And, every time they kill him off, it's like, yes, he is still dead. He died on, issue blah, 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 and doing this. And then when they bring him back eventually, he's like, oh, no, he's not dead. He was brought back in issue this, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. And again, I mean, their intentions is, okay, well, this time we're going to keep him dead, which last time you killed him, he stayed dead for 2 years. But then you said, hey, what would be a really good story? How we brought Wolverine back. Mm-hmm. And then that became within itself an event. And I'm like, so, I mean, and that happens with almost every character, but don't sit there and say, okay, we're going to kill this character and he's going to stay dead. Because he's not.
Well, would it be less of, kind of like you said, like the event fatigue, but would it be less of the fact that it not just necessarily being like the superheroes or the event, but like the stories of them are, like you said, beginning, middle, end, and instead of it being kind of like there's clear kind of like beginning section, stuff like that, it feels like since they're doing that long, drawn out process, that the middle, that should be kind of like where you're starting to come to the climax at the end, is just drawn out to where you start losing your investment.
Yeah.
Because like we've all sat through a movie where you're just like sitting there and you're just like, when will this end?
Yeah. Because I mean, like every good story has kind of like, has a bell curve of like the beginning, like introducing stuff. And I think, I don't know about you, Doc, but I think lately comics have avoided that bell curve. And it's just like, it hits that climax and then just stays there. And after a while, that climax is just normal. So it's no longer the climax. It's just
because like every good story, you're supposed to have like peaks and valleys in every good story. Because you're supposed to have like those moments of like lullness that kind of like oh okay, everything's fine, and then you raise the stakes, and all of a sudden. But it seems like from everything, it's either it goes to the top, stays there, or it's here we're rising up, and then it stays stagnant, and then it ends off, and it's just like that's pretty going to lose people, regardless of what you're in.
And I think the other thing, well, I mean, okay, so to be fair to comic books that have events in them, The King in Black, I really enjoyed that story. So I'll say that, right? And that was a big thing. But what I hate is all the tie-ins. In other words, oh, here we go. In order for you to know this part of the story, you have to check out this other comic book. So there's just so many, like, and you miss one, and now it's like you don't know
what the hell's going on.
When they introduce you to this, you don't know why they're introducing you to this. But if you check out this comic, it'll tell you why this is this and how important of a tie-in it is to this story. And you're like, man, I just don't have the patience for reading 17 comic books outside of the main story arc.
Yeah. By all means, I understand, like, it's driving their sales to have you go out and buy 17 or 16 other comic books, but it makes you lose interest because...
Right, exactly. And yes, there's a reason that the comic industry itself, the print, is dying because you're doing dumb shit like this.
Yeah.
Because realistically, who the hell has time?
Like, that's the thing. No matter how good a story is, at a certain point, if I can't stay invested, whether it be because like you're just drawing things out, like everybody remembers cartoons growing up or anime stuff like that. There's always the beach episodes or the trip episodes. Nothing to do with the story, but they still kept it fun, and you could kind of still watch it and not really feel that bad. But then when it just became more and more happening often, you're just like, okay, no, I can't.
Yeah, it's like, when do these characters get a break? Not that, I mean, I understand they're characters, but they don't need a break. But at the same time, it's like, goddamn, how much shit can happen to this one character?
It's like, can we, like, do something else?
Yeah. But, let us know what you think down in the comments. Not comics. We are talking about comics now. But, let us know what you think down in the comments.
Send in your comics.
Yes, if you can, send in your comics. We'll take them. All those 17 issues that we're talking about. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
and punch the crap out of that notification bell.